Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Hamlin. I'll be your host tonight. I am an associate member with fundmyhome.org. Over the next few minutes, we're going to share with you a phenomenal program. Our goal is to put 1 million families and individuals into homes across the country by providing them with down payment assistance, ladies and gentlemen. So this is assistance that does not have to be repaid. There's no second mortgage. There is no lien, and there are no restrictions. And we're going to go over the details for you right now. Let's get started. So I'd like to introduce to some and present to others fundmyhome.org. What is fundmyhome.org? We are a down payment assistance program managed in collaboration with Real Estate Mortgage Grants and Down Payment Assistance, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit organization, providing home ownership opportunities. What makes us different? Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we are a nationwide program, primarily focused in Florida right now, but very soon we will be across the country. We offer non-repayable grants without liens or second mortgages. There are no income limits or income caps. We work with people with credit scores of 580, and even some lower scores are considered, ladies and gentlemen. Our goal is to put people in houses with zero to little out of pocket in closing costs. We use government loans such as FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac. Our down payment and closing costs are offered to first-time home buyers or your first home, and even for a second home. So we're talking about single-family homes, condos, duplexes, quads, and even double wides. Up to $48,000 in grant funding, and we use preferred realtors and lenders across the country. All right, so what is fundmyhome.org? Well, you need to understand that we are not a lender, ladies and gentlemen. Nevertheless, Fund My Home helps its preferred lenders approve more home buyers by providing funds needed for down payment and closing costs. Also, on a case-by-case basis, it may provide home buyers with the funds they need to pay off collection accounts. This helps to lower the home buyer's debt to income, thus increasing their purchasing power. So let's go over the main benefits in detail. So as we mentioned, starting off, we provide home buyers with money for down payment and closing costs. Our goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to bring home buyers to close with zero or little out of pocket. Fund My Home helps approve home buyers with credit scores as low as 580 on a case-by-case basis. Fund My Home will attempt to help approve home buyers without credit scores. So, as I mentioned, we offer non-repayable grants up to $48,000, and unlike most cities, counties, and states, which give down payment assistance in the form of zero interest, deferred payment second mortgages, our down payment assistance program our down payment assistance is non-repayable. It is gifted without liens or second mortgages. Funds are wire transferred at closing by the 501c3 nonprofit organization. There are no income limits. Unlike most down payment assistance programs from cities, counties, states, which limit home buyers to income, to only 50 to 80% of area median household income, Fund My Home does not have income limits. In other words, if you make a good salary, you're not prohibited from participating with us. We welcome even people who have high income. Okay, so let's talk about the proper business sequence. Cities, counties, and states require homebuyers to first enter into purchase agreements with earnest deposits before applying for their down payment assistance. Fund My Home approves homebuyers before they engage sellers into the purchase agreement. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have a document being pre-approved before you actually go look for your house. You know exactly how much your grant is going to be. You're going to know the amount of the house that you can actually purchase. You'll have all those details in advance. All right, when it comes to approvals, it normally takes 4 to 5 days, ladies and gentlemen. Applications can be finalized within 4 to 5 days of receipt of the home buyer's supportive documentation. When it comes to closing, home buyers typically close within 30 to 45 days of the signed purchase agreements. That's pretty standard in the industry. All right, so let's go through the process, the home buyer registration and grant application process. I want you to see how simple it is. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, as we mentioned earlier, there are no application fees or broker fees. It doesn't cost anything to apply for our grant, ladies and gentlemen. Nevertheless, you should be prepared to pay $24 for a credit report when requested by the mortgage lender. Once approved and under contract, homebuyers must be prepared to make an earnest deposit to the seller. They must be prepared to pay about, on average, $450 for an appraisal report, and on average, $350 for the home inspection report. So the home buyer is going to need some cash. And we estimate at least $1,800 to cover these incidentals. These fees and these incidentals must be paid before the grant is awarded. So once the down payment assistance and the mortgage loans are pre-approved, Fund My Home conducts a needs analysis with the home buyer to determine their specific home buying requirements. The needs analysis will cover things such as distance from home and work, special needs, hospitals, places of worship, school districts, types of property, etc. All right, so Fund My Home assigns a home buyer to one of its preferred realtors who searches and emails listing information on available properties that closely matches the home buyer's buying criteria and sets up appointments to view the selected properties. Fund My Home assigns the home buyer to one of its preferred lenders who will complete and process the loan application. Okay, so let's take a moment to talk about the purchase agreement and that process. So when a person signs the purchase agreement, the home buyer gives the seller the earnest deposit. The earnest deposit is deposited directly with the preferred title company. The earnest deposit is paid by the home buyer out of the home buyer's own funds. So that money does not come out of the grant. The earnest deposit is protected by the terms and conditions of the contract, and Fund My Home does not receive or handle earnest deposits. So let's talk about the loan closing process. We want to, give you all the information so you have an understanding of exactly how this works. So Real Estate Mortgage Grants and Down Payment Assistance, Inc., that's our 501c3 company, will wire transfer to the title company the funds allocated for down payment assistance. The bank will wire transfer to the mortgage loan funds to the title company and emails the funding docs. The home buyer wire transfers to the title company what remaining funds are needed to close. The seller signs the seller docs. The home buyer signs the buyer docs, the mortgage and the note, and the title company closes the purchase transaction. The home buyer receives their keys and the closing documents, and here's the best part, ladies and gentlemen, the home buyer becomes a homeowner, and that's our goal, to put 1 million individuals and families into homes across the country.